Experts state two conditions for negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. President Zelensky fears Russia will attack northeastern Ukraine. Ukraine violently attacked the Russian military stronghold at Vovchansk. The American F-22 seems to have completely failed against the German Eurofighter Typhoon fighter. Experts state two conditions for negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Political scientist Sergei Mikheev told RIA Novosti that the Russian side is ready to negotiate with the Ukrainian government if two important conditions are met, including Russia's interests. According to Sergei Mikheev, Russia is ready to negotiate if two conditions are met. Ukraine ensures political and military neutrality. Putin has never refused to negotiate, but he said one simple thing. First, if there is a negotiation, who will be the guarantor? And secondly, or rather, the most important thing to take into account is the interests of Russia, said the scientist. And Russia's interests here are simple: Kiev's neutrality. As for Ukraine, all we want from them is military political neutrality, and nothing more. It would have been easy to do and develop under these simple conditions, but they didn't. Don't do that, because otherwise the threat will only increase. President Vladimir Putin previously said that attempts to impose on Russia conditions for resolving the crisis in Ukraine will end up as attempts to cause strategic failure for the country. The Russian president noted during a press conference in Harbin, China, that formulas for peace in Ukraine are not based on the actual situation, cannot be discussed. Switzerland will host a conference on Ukraine on June 15 to 16 near the city of Lucerne. Press secretary of the Russian embassy in Bern Vladimir Koklov previously told RIA Novosti that Switzerland did not invite the Russian Federation to participate in the summit on Ukraine. The Russian side said that Russia would not participate even if invited. He added that the idea of a peace conference in Switzerland is unacceptable to the Russian Federation, as it wants to promote an unworkable peace formula that does not take into account Russian interests. Zelensky's legitimacy. Also related to negotiations, speaking at a press conference in China on May 17, President Putin mentioned the legitimacy of Ukrainian President Zelensky, as Mr. Zelensky's term will expire on May 20 but postponed the election due to fighting. The issue of Zelensky's legitimacy, Putin said, is something that Ukraine's political and legal system must resolve, first of all the Constitutional Court. He noted that the country's constitution foresaw different variations. But for us, this is very important because if it comes to signing any documents, certainly we should sign documents in such an important area with the authorities, Putin explained. Legal. He added that the Kremlin was in regular contact with President Zelensky before the conflict broke out. Ukraine's constitution prohibits holding presidential or parliamentary elections during wartime. In March, a senior official of Ukraine's Central Election Commission clarified to the media that Zelensky's term would be automatically extended until conditions were met to hold an election. This month, Justice Minister Denis Malieska confirmed this to the BBC. In late April, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that soon the time will come when many people, including those in Ukraine, will question President Zelensky's legitimacy. A survey conducted by the Ukrainian polling agency SOSIS in early March showed that the incumbent president would lose to Ukraine's former top commander, General Valery Zaluzhny, if both ran. The following month, the German newspaper Tagesspiegel reported that public support for authoritarian Zelensky had dropped to 61%. President Zelensky fears Russia will attack northeastern Ukraine. President Zelensky is concerned that Russia will step up its attack in the northeastern region of Ukraine. The situation in Kharkov is under control, but unstable. This is not a big step for Russia, but we need to be alert and understand that they are moving deeper into Ukrainian territory, President Volodymyr Zelensky said in an interview with AFP on May 17. Mr. Zelensky said Russian troops advanced 5 to 10 kilometers in the area along the northeastern border before being stopped by Ukrainian forces. He warned that this could be the first attack in a larger-scale campaign, saying the situation in Kharkov province was under control, but not stable. The president of Ukraine reiterated his request for Western allies to send more anti-aircraft weapons and fighters to deal with Russia's air superiority. "We only possess 25% of the air defense capabilities needed to defend Ukraine," Mr. Zelensky said. Ukraine needs 120 to 130 F-16s or other advanced fighters to balance power with the Russian Air Force. In a video statement on the evening of May 18, Mr. Zelensky said that Russia is losing a lot of infantry and equipment and that the situation of the Ukrainian army is improving. Luke Luong Nadajayan Duak, then 278 square kilometers 010 Kharkov Kak Kuvuk Kok Trongay 9 and 15/5, Theo du Lu Quavine Engian Qchien Tran, ISW, Coach Russo Tai Mai Tongthong Vladimir Putin Twenbo Chien Dike Tien Sung Kharkov Namtra Thursday Kwandoy Ukraine Kich Hot Kak Ten Jayap Bien Gioi. Dongdoi Trong No Luke Thiat Lap Fung Demen Nin Kwa Na. Ong Noi Na Trong Jai Don Nai Chua Ko Wai Din Kim Sot Kharkov, Ton Fo Lon Thursday High Ukraine Va Catch Bien Gioi Kuong 30 kilometers, Han Mot True Nuoi Dang Song Tai Ton Fo Kharkov. Ukraine violently attacked the Russian military stronghold at Vovchansk. An airstrike by Ukrainian warplanes destroyed the Russian stronghold in Vovchansk, Kharkiv region. According to a representative of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Russian troops used the building as a forward command post as well as a place to accumulate manpower, and monitoring activities were conducted thoroughly. Pictures of the damage to the building after the bombing by Ukrainian fighters were published by the Telegram channel Operation Information. Ukrainian aviation dealt a heavy blow to the building in the central district of Vovchansk, where assault units of the Russian army are stationed trying to capture this city, the announcement stated. Judging by the accuracy of the hit, Ukrainian fighters used high-precision aviation bombs that Ukraine recently received from Western partners as part of a new military aid package. It could be an American JDAM bomb or a French-made AASM-250 Hammer, adapted for use by Ukrainian aviation. However, with their use at high frequency and very high accuracy, there is an opinion that they were thrown from F-16 fighters instead of MiG-29 or Su-27. Recently, there has been information that F-16 fighters have been gathered in western Ukraine and are located in underground bunkers, ready to be used when conditions are appropriate. The Kyiv press also reminded that Russian forces recently began their offensive in the northern Kharkiv region and are currently trying to capture the town of Vovchansk. But Ukrainian soldiers fought back strongly, causing many casualties in enemy infantry and military equipment. The American F-22 seems to have completely failed against the German Eurofighter Typhoon fighter. F-22 fighters continuously lose in exercises with more outdated fighters. Despite the F-22 Raptor's reputation as the world's best air superiority fighter, the stealth fighter has lost several virtual dogfights to older and less advanced platforms such as the U.S. Navy's F-16 and EA-18G Growler. The F-22's reputation was even particularly strongly affected by training exercises with German Eurofighter Typhoon fighters about 10 years ago. In 2012, at the Red Flag Air Combat Exercise organized by the U.S. Air Force in Alaska, pilots of the Luftwaffe's 74th Tactical Squadron participated in several simulated dogfights. Close range, BFM, with the U.S. F-22 fighter. The exercise included a number of complex and realistic air combat scenarios, showing that the F-22 does not always have an advantage over older fighter models. Unlike the F-22, the Eurofighter Typhoon, a multi-role fighter, has demonstrated excellent maneuverability at various speeds and altitudes. German pilots noted that their fighter had an advantage in close-range combat, allowing it to successfully compete with the F-22 in simulation exercises.